Alright, 69 C10. I pull the gas tank out of my cab, put it under the bed. I got a big hole right here. What do? Hey, Cookster here. In this video, we're making a patch panel to plug up the hole where I removed the gas tank from my 69 C10. I made this with my hot rod power hammer, so I'm going to show you how I did it. Let's go. Now, this looks like a simple piece of metal. There's a fair amount of shape in this little plug. See this? See how much this plug bends? The curve here? You got to have all that shape in here to match the profile of your cab. You don't want to just put a piece of flat metal in here and weld it in and build it up with filler. I've seen that done, and that's the butcher's way of doing it. We don't do that here. So in this video, we're using my new handy dandy hot rod power hammer. Not sponsored. I bought this my own money. This is probably the easiest shape you'll ever make on a power hammer. You can also make this shape on a Plashing Hammer. I got that Bailey Plashing Hammer I bought, last Christmas when I bought this one. Now, this area is not flat. It's got shape to it, and I'm going to show you in a moment just how much shape. So I'm going to TIG weld it in and metal finish it, hammer and dolly, and try to get it as close to the shape, the final shape as I can. You could MIG this in, sure. Lots of people do it. You just can't really metal finish a MIG weld. They're too hard. So let me show you the shape. So yes, I cut out a blank. It's definitely oversized. It's not pretty. The edges are not a perfect circle, but it don't need to be. The black Sharpie mark, that's the basic outline of the hole here. I've got over 1/4 of an inch clearance on each side to give me plenty of room to get this thing to fit. Now you will notice this flat spot. In the shape of the cab, it comes up, curls over this way, and then right here there's a separate curl, separate shape. And that happens to be right at the edge of where my patch has got to go. The top edge of my patch is going to have a little roll put in it to fit into this contour. And the further up from here I go, the more of a roll I got to make, and the harder it's going to be to make that shape. So I cut this patch like this, so it'll sit somewhere right along in here. Like I say, the finished piece will be as close, as far down here as I can get with this lip cut off, somewhere right along in here. Now, let me show you the shape. These are both profile gauges. So this profile here, this is like looking straight down on top of the cab. The gas filler neck is sitting right here, and this is the back corner of the cab. So that there's a little bit of shape. This is the shape where it goes this way. This is the vertical piece. Here, up here is the roof. The area I have to shape is right here in the middle. So if you can tell, there's a heavy bit of shape right here, a much steeper arch, and then as we go up towards the bottom and the top, it kind of flattens out. So let me show you on the truck what I'm talking about. So that's the shape I got to make right there between the two tape lines, roughly. That's the amount of shape I have to make coming across this way. If this shape had any more complexity than just being a dome, I'd probably want to make a pattern, a flexible shape pattern or a template, or there's lots of ways to do it. I won't go into that in this video because there's no need to. But what is critical here is you figure out which dies you need to go in your hammer. Plashing hammer dies, power hammer dies, they all have different radiuses. In other words, they start off from perfectly flat and they get more and more dome. Like this is called a 36-inch radius. You look at it and you think it's flat. It's not. If I drew an imaginary circle here of a 36-inch radius, which is actually a 6-foot circle, that's the outside radius of that 6-foot circle. So very, 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 very slight, but it is curved. On the other end, the extreme end of the scale, here's one that's very, 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 very domed. You'd make a hell of a deep dish with this in no time. And there's radiuses all in between. The 36, like my power hammer has it from 36 down to, I don't know the exact numbers. They get really extreme. Now the Harbor Freight Plashing Hammer only came with 3 dies, and they were kind of curved, a little curved, and not much curve. They work. They're not going to be as nice, and you're not going to have as many choices of radius as you do, like you do for the power hammer. I know most of you guys don't have one of these. You'll have a Plashing Hammer, either where it's the more expensive Bailey, or go to Harbor Freight and get you a cheap one. You can get the job done with that thing. It'll get you started. It's exactly what I did. Alright, so let me explain the shape here. This is a 24-inch radius. It basically fits in this shape right here. But I'm taking the radius of the different dies I have and checking, like that's the 24. Here's that very extreme one. You would never want to use this die to make this shape. You could never do it. It's not the right shape. I have a 36 here. It would work. It's not going to put as much shape in as fast as the 24. And I think the 24 is the one I'm going to use to start with. The real test is the vertical shape. So I take that 24, but it fits really good till about right here. So this curve here has two different radiuses, and that's very, very common in panels. That's way more common than you think. So you got a radius of 24 to about here, and then down here I picked this 5. Fits pretty good right along in there. I'm not going to show setting up and adjusting the hammer this time. The first power hammer video I posted when I bought it, I talked about some of that, so I'll link it here somewhere if you want to go watch that. I'll get my dies set up, get everything ready to go, and we'll start shaping. And we'll cross our fingers that I don't screw this up. All right, I got my 24-inch radius lower die, the flat upper die. So let's see what we can do here. Try to see if we can get some shape in this thing. It is doming up, but it's going awful slow. I'm going to change to a smaller radius die. Alright, I dropped down to a 5-inch radius. See what that does. Alright, now we're getting some shape. Oh yeah. So the pattern I'm using, I just start in the center and make big circles and extend my way all the way out to the edge and then work my way back in. Just do it over and over and over. Keeping in mind that the most amount of stretch is in the middle, so you want to stretch here the most. Changing that die over, I've already got that much shape in there. That was only from like 30 seconds or 45 seconds of hammering. So this number 5 is going to work up quick, so you got to be careful. Let me see if I can get you an overhead shot or over the shoulder shot of what I'm doing. Still got to add a little bit more shape back in here. You see me doing it like this. I'm trying to follow this curve here. You know, I'm working a pattern like this. I'm not doing this or this. I'm going with the curve, with what would be the light line. Need a little more towards the opposite side now, so I'm going to shape on this half. A little bit more right here on the very outside edge. It's fitting really good on the truck, but according to my profile gauge, I still need a little more shape out here. So there's my shape. I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty damn close. I wouldn't say it's perfect, because I hate using that word. The vertical shape is a whole lot more vertical shape. See how much more shape I gotta have to make the vertical face fit? I gotta put a lot of shape down in here to make that turn. I'm probably gonna wind up going to a bigger die to get this shape down in here. But for now, we got a good start. Alright, I just showed you the piece where I stopped with a number 5 radius die. So I switched to a number 4, which is one step smaller, so I'm going from flat to getting more of a crown. I definitely need a fair amount of more shape. That's what I have so far. I think you can see that. I need at least double that amount of shape. So that's why I went up to a smaller radius die. See if I can get a little more shape, and then get it a little faster. Yep, let's keep going. I'm going to go up to a next smaller die. So I'm changing down to a 3 now. And this is getting pretty aggressive here. This die here ought to do it, because I actually am pretty close. I may be about to overdo it here, but I'm getting shape up here. I've been ignoring this bottom side, and I believe that's what's holding me back. All right, let's add some more overall. That's really close to my profile gauge. I'm gonna go a little bit more. Alright, I'm gonna check it on the truck. I'll come back. Alright, here's what we have. This is how much shape I have in it. You can see that. That's a lot of shape. That's 1/4 inch at least down in there. So I just fitted on the truck, and it fits really good, really close. I want to come back, make some trims now, and get the edges a lot closer to their final fit, and that'll let the patch sit better. We're not perfect against the profile gauge, but we are very, very close. Within probably a strong 1/16 in the middle. Now let me show you on the truck. It fits really good. There's a small gap here, but we're a 1/2 inch above my cut line, below my cut line, and this line here is not right, and these corners up here are biting in. If you look inside, and I hope you can see this, it fits very tight. Maybe a little loose spot right here at the top, and I expected that, but all the way down the rest of it fits really good, which means I've got the shape pretty close to being accurate. The only thing I may wind up doing is having not quite enough shape in the final, the final height. It might need to be a little bit more, higher out this way to put more shape in it. So I want to trim off, quite a bit of this excess up here. And then I'm going to try to figure out how I want to make this little roll right in here. And I also can probably go ahead and trim the bottom up a little bit too. All right, I just showed you on the truck. This is what we got. I need to put this little profile, this little bend radius up here. Tried to do it with a hammer just to get it in rough in, and I did, but it doesn't look good. And I wasn't trying to make it perfect. So I've got a number 1 radius here. You can see that now we're starting to get into the really domed up profiles. See what happens. Alright, trying to form this bend with the radius die didn't work. After I thought about it for a moment, this is not a forming die like you're running a tool through like a pull max or a forming die along a linear path, and it goes in there and shapes a form. This is a stretching die, and when I was putting this in here, all it was doing was planishing it and stretching it back out. So if I had thought about it, I probably would have realized that. That's my inexperience showing. So what I did, I just put it on the truck and took a body hammer and bent it over by hand with a body hammer. So now what I want to do, I need to add a little more shape back in here with my original die that I was forming with originally, the number 4 or 5. So let me change my dies out. By the way, we are fitting very close. I'm down now to the point where I'm nitpicking. So when I nitpick stuff, it could be 5 minutes or 5 hours. Still need a little more shape in this upper corner here. I want to show you against our profile gauge. We are almost perfect with that profile gauge. We are now within probably 30 thousandths, less than a 16th for sure. Even the side profile here, when I get down to the bottom, which is where I measured, and then the top, fits pretty good. Trying to shape this blind without a profile gauge, it sounds easy, and certainly you could do it, but this makes it so much more, I want to say it makes it a lot faster and a lot more reliable. Alright, here we are. It's clecoed on. To be my first actual real world patch I've ever made on my power hammer, this fits really good. It's shaped right. There's no wrinkles and bubbles and lumps, and that's the biggest thing you can get yourself in trouble with. It's just making ridges and bumps and lumps and not getting it smooth. Oh, and let me talk about here 1 second. I did put a dolly in the cab and work this area here with a hammer. It's going to get cut right in this crease. So this area was never going to be perfect in my patch. I wasn't trying to make it perfect. If I was making this entire piece right here, it'd be a whole different experience. Just making this plug made this be 3 times easier than it would be trying to make this piece up into here with all this form, this profile. Let me get my profile gauge over here. I'm curious as to how close I am. So let's check it back here. Now, it's not a perfect fit. You can see a gap, especially up here. It's not perfect to the panel gauge. I could put a little more shape in on the bottom side right here. The perfectionist in me is a little bit bugged by that gap at the bottom right there. And I guess my patch does need a little more shape right down here in the bottom side. Tell you what, I'm gonna go over to the hammer and put a little bit more shape in the bottom side. It's bugging me. I think I can do a better job. So let me go do that right quick and I'll come back. I'm gonna try to show this to you. I hammered some more shape in the bottom half here. Now the gap is pretty much closed up and gone. I could even look at the patch sideways and I can see a flat spot here. Now if you look at it, I hope you can see in the camera, it's got a nice round domed shape to it. There's no more flat spot. So don't be afraid to go back and tweak stuff. I know I've talked about being a perfectionist, and I am, but that was clearly not shaped enough. And I knew it when I first saw it, and I was trying to talk myself out of fixing it, and I knew better than to do that. So I'm glad I went back and fixed it. Now the panel even fits better because the bottom wasn't curled down enough. There wasn't enough shape in it. Now it fits the truck even better. It fits right in this shape. I mean, it fits great. So here it is before welding. It fits really well. It matches the contour of the cab. No flat metal and having to build it up a 1/4 inch thick with filler. I will have to put a little bit of filler in here. I'm going to try to metal finish this the best I can when I weld it. But I won't get it perfect. I know I won't. So I will have to put just a small amount of filler in here to skim it and make it look good. But there won't be no big 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of filler in the middle to dome this thing out. Like if you look at my plug real quick, you can see the light lines here. There's no wrinkles and lumps and bumps or knots or walnuts. You know, it planished it as it was forming. So I really didn't have to form it and then come back and planish it. It kind of all did it in one step. So I'm really happy with this. And if I wasn't, I would tell you because it would be bugging me. Now I just got to get it welded in, planished, and finished out. But that's in the next video. Alright, now that we're at the end of the video, let me take just a couple of minutes and try to learn you something. I hope you watched the video this far, especially if you're trying to learn metal shaping and you're new. This is some good information. I know a lot of you guys get bored and tune out, but you know, I hope you're here and I hope you're watching this. First off, I am no metal shaping expert. I know enough now to be dangerous. I'm telling you what I learned from other people. The people you want to go watch are Mike Wagner at Cornfield Customs, Ray Shalene at ProShaper.com. Ray's a big English wheel guy. Mike Wagner is a genius on a power hammer. There's a young fella up north who has a channel. His name's Travis. I can't remember his channel name. I just brain farted it and can't remember. Look him up. And then there's of course the all-stars, the experts. The guy out in Texas, can't remember his name either. Golly. There's also a guy out in West, William Trombley. He works on airplanes. I'll never touch an airplane. There's no way. He's very knowledgeable as well. So go watch him. He even follows my channel now. So if you see this, hey William. So anyway, let me tell you just a few things that you need to know to get started. When metal shapers talk about shape, that's adding area, adding in the crown, or shrinking, taking area away. So really you can do three things to metal. You can stretch it, you can shrink it, and you can form it. Form just means bend it. Take a piece of metal, bend it into a curve, you formed it. When you shrink, metal collapses and curls. Watch my video I made on my test patch panel. I shrunk the edges of a panel to kind of make a wheel well shape. In this video we stretched. I did no shrinking at all. I took a flat piece of metal and stretched the middle, and the more you stretch, the more the metal will rise and form into a bowl basically. I was real lucky on this plug for the C10. All I had to do was stretch it. You need to know what the metal needs in order to make the shape you want, whether you got to stretch it or shrink it and form it, and usually it's all the above. This test piece I made, I had to shrink the edges, and in my case I was able to use the thumbnail shrinking dies that came with my hammer, and then I stretched the middle a little bit to get this little bit of crown here. And then of course we did a lot of planishing too, which planishing is not really shrinking or stretching. Planishing is just taking out all the lumps and the bumps. This panel was flat. I shrunk it. It curled it down into this curve. No way you can make this metal do this without shrinking this metal and making it gather up. When you're making a patch panel for whatever you're working on, use profile gauges. There's what's called a shape pattern. You lay a tape across it. I'm sure you've seen people do that on some channels. They take the area they're working, they lay tape across it, they make what basically called a flexible shape pattern. And as you're forming, you can lay that on top of your metal, and you can see where you're low and high. Ray Shalene's a master at that, pro shaper. Go watch him for that. Mike Wagner makes very detailed patterns. He'll show you in his videos how he makes his patterns, where he's supposed to stretch, where he's supposed to shrink, the light lines. And when I made this test panel, I basically used Mike's formula or Mike's method to make this mini wheel well. I laid out my lines, my shrinks, all that stuff. Again, it's in my video if you want to go watch it. Let's talk real quickly about the Harbor Freight Plashing Hammer. You can make the shape I just made with that hammer. The problem you're going to have is the three dies it come with, I call them a lot of shape, some shape, and not much shape. And the anvil, the top anvil, is basically nothing but an air hammer anvil. So the dies it comes with are not good. They're just not great. If you want to use that Harbor Freight Plashing Hammer to make shapes, I recommend getting some new dies. There's several sites on the web that sell dies for that hammer, as well as other dies as well. Google Plashing Hammer dies, it should come right up. If you want to make a large skin patch, say like a door skin patch or a hood patch or a small roof insert, you need a 36 and a 24-inch radius die. Those are the big flat low crown dies you have to make low crown panels. My biggest die on my hammer is a 36, my smallest is a 3/4. So picture a 6-foot diameter circle, that's where the 36 radius starts, all the way down to an 1.5 inch diameter circle or 3/4 radius, that's my smallest, or my smallest crown. So I've got dies all in between where I can pick different shapes and different radiuses to make different shapes. You can buy some of those in different radii for your Harbor Freight hammer, and you can make some decent shapes. You're not going to make a hood insert. You're not going to make a roof insert or a big hood. And neither am I on this hammer. I don't think. It's too small and doesn't have enough power. So in order to make panels and shapes and patch panels, smaller stuff, you don't have to go out and buy a $4,000 or $5,000 hammer like I did, unless you want to. Alright, so that's it. So hey, if I taught you something in this, if you learned something, drop me a like or a comment. I'm trying to grow the channel, and every interaction with you guys helps get the videos out and grows the channel. Tell me what you bought or didn't buy, or what you like or don't like, or if you learned anything or didn't learn anything. Just let me know. I'm trying to do what you guys want to see. I'm trying to make my videos shorter and cut out all the yapping, because my YouTube tells me I talk too much and you guys get bored and leave. So in the next video we'll be welding in the patch panel. I'm gonna TIG weld it, I'm gonna planish it, and then of course grind the welds off. But I'm going to do the best I can to metal finish it. It won't be metal finished perfectly. In other words, I will be using body filler to blend that patch in. So teaser here, I've already got it welded in. It looks really good. I'm happy with it. It fit well. It planished out nice. The welds look good. It looks really good. I'm happy with it. For my first actual panel made on a hammer to put in the project, I'm happy with it. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't be. I'd be all blech about it. So I'm happy with it. Okay, so that's it. I hope you got this far, and I hope you watched this. I hope you learned something. I was trying to teach you a little bit in this video and not bore you to death, but I wanted you to see what we're doing, to see it and kind of get some excitement about what we're doing. That's how I learned. Now, I've been interested in metal shaping since I was 16, 17 years old, a long time ago, back when all we had was books. There wasn't videos, and this equipment was not available to the general public as far as price point goes. So I found Mike Wagner's channel 2 or 3 years ago and started watching him metal shape, and I was fascinated. I was like, I've got to get one of those. And luckily, I'm at the stage in my life now where, yeah, I can afford to buy a more expensive hammer and some more expensive tools. I know you young guys, you can't. Go get you a Harbor Freight hammer. That'll get you in the door. You can make a lot of stuff with that hammer. But I hope I inspired you to get out there and want to learn this and make something. And, don't learn from me. Go watch Mike and Ray Chalene and all the other guys. They're the experts. I'm just here trying to show you what I'm learning in my garage on my own. If I can learn it, hey, you can learn it. So we are growing the channel slowly. I'm getting some more subscribers. I'm getting some more likes and more comments. All that things help the algorithm push my videos out and grow the channel. So I appreciate everybody who watches and comments and likes and all that good stuff. And I've got more videos coming soon, more metal work, more truck work. So I'm trying to do better the rest of the year about posting. But anyway, that's enough of that. Be sure and do all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Happy metal shaping. Go make something, y'all. Bye.